Okay, so I think we are good. So let's just maybe wait for 10 more seconds to allow everyone who just joined to kind of settle down. So can I ask everyone to go on mute, please, if you are not already? Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm not able to turn off the ding when when someone joins. I'm just trying to figure that out. Okay, now we should not get that in. Okay, so let's get started. So thanks everyone. We are 3 minutes on top of the hour. Thanks for joining the call today. Today's call is, I think, important simply because of the fact that a lot of our customers, which is yourself, are going to go on a journey to migrating your ECC instances to S4, and some of you are already on S4 and are continuously running and monitoring your S4 system. And I think Cloud ALM will play an important role in both your migration to and operationalizing and monitoring your operations post that as well. So it is important for all of you to understand where SAP is going with the ALM strategy. So with that, I would like to invite either Sonal or Sharath to probably quickly set the context and hand it over to Mark, and Mark can probably then take it up from there. Sharath, would you like to quickly do the context setting?
Sure. Can you hear me? Just validating.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So thank you so much, Mukesh, for having organized this for our community here in India. So all our customers who are leveraging SAP, you must have all already started seeing and listening about our new solution, Cloud ALM. This has been there in the market since 2020. Here today we have an overview of SAP Cloud ALM and how it is relevant for your journey as you embark on your digital transformation. At the same time, it's just not about going through the implementation journey, but all about your operations as well. Not just that, as a customer, when you're leveraging services from SAP, it's also the platform that is leveraged now for consuming those services, looking at the catalog of services, looking through the deliverables and so on and so forth, as you're engaging SAP services as well. Not just that, there are pretty much many other solutions that are slowly becoming part of Cloud ALM as a platform. And I think that's a story we would love to listen to. And it's our honor to have our SVP and head of CXX for the ALM portfolio, Mark Thier, available with us today. He is not new to this part of the world. I mean, if you've been part of our TechEds or ALM summits in the past, you would have already met Mark. So he's not new to our region. But it's, again, a great honor to have you here, Mark, today to address this August audience. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Mukesh and Sharath, for the great intro. I'm really pleased to talk about our new baby. And actually, I shouldn't say baby, I would say our new adult, called SAP Cloud ALM. As said by Sharath, now 3 years on the market. And I'll give you an intro. So what are the capabilities of Cloud ALM? What does it help you in? Show you also adoption, and then even open it up towards a larger picture, which we call the transformation suite. All right, so SAP Cloud ALM is all about to help you to adopt software solutions, to transform software solutions, and for the operational duties that even in the cloud are still with you, to also help you in self-service for operation. When you look at our little application lifecycle picture, you see these two goals. On the top, transformation of your software solution into the cloud, but also within the cloud, and then also managing on-prem, but also the business continuity. Keep the lights on, keep the business as usual running, so that there is no outage. And overall, we have a couple of phases that we support with SAP Cloud ALM. It's first of all designing a software solution based on best practice processes. We are conducting fit to standard workshops. We are collecting requirements from there. We are moving into the build, that is configuring the solution, also with the help of central business configuration, extending the solution with SAP BTP, finally testing the solution, and that includes manual testing and automated testing. And then finally moving into deployment, into production, into enabling people in using the software, and then takes us finally into the transition to operations and finally operate the solution in a collaboration between SAP Cloud Ops, for on-prem, your service providers that are running the on-prem loads for you, or even things that you need to do yourself. And especially in SAP Cloud ALM, we want to offer those things that are still relevant for you in the implementation and operation phase. All of that comes with an end-to-end methodology and toolchain. End-to-end methodology means we are based on SAP Activate, but also partners can bring in their own methodology if they want to extend it. And the toolchain as such is very integrated. You will see in a demo later that we really put a very big focus on that the whole document flow is very intense, and ultimately we can provide you with traceability from requirement to deployment. Now, SAP Cloud ALM is a tenant that you can request within SAP for me when you're entitled, and actually all enterprise support and SAP subscription customers are entitled. So basically, all of you are entitled to use it. Can then go to SAP for me and just request a tenant for you, and takes 15 minutes, a totally automated procedure, and then you can log on. So there is no installation, there is no upgrades that you need to do, patches that you need to apply like you're used from SAP Solution Manager. It's an out-of-the-box solution that also requires very little configuration. Actually, in implementation, you're up to the task within 2 hours, including training. In operation, perhaps it's a day, and then you can basically use this software. So it's really very easy to adopt. Now, while SAP Cloud ALM is a tenant that you own, it's a SaaS solution from SAP, so you own the tenant, there's also a cross-customer layer behind, which we call that the service and support collaboration capabilities and the data lake for service and support, which brings analytics and AI cross-customer into the picture. And the wisdom of the crowd that we find out in that data lake are replicated back into your tenant as recommendations what you should do. There's a big focus in Cloud ALM on guidance and automation in implementation and operation. So that we are not leaving you alone when you move to the cloud, or when you want to implement on-prem, or when you just want to extend your footprint within the cloud. All right, so if that is the scope of SAP Cloud ALM, solution transformation and business continuity, help you in that, what is the solution that we are talking about? And ultimately, you always see that picture from SAP centered around cloud ERP and then our cloud LOB solutions, and then customers, partners invited to build ecosystem solutions. Cloud ALM does not stop at SAP and does not stop at cloud, right? So we are supporting both SAP and non-SAP, and we are also supporting cloud and on-premise. It's a cloud solution, SaaS solution for the customer, but it supports cloud and on-prem, and it supports SAP and non-SAP. And when I say on-prem, with that, I mean all ABAP on-prem, meaning S4 HANA on-prem, but also even Business Suite on-prem is supported by SAP Cloud ALM. Obviously, all our cloud products are supported, Ariba, SuccessFactors, S4 Cloud, and so on. And we are open to use the software also to support non-SAP. So if you have, I don't know, 70-80% SAP and 20-30% non-SAP, absolutely, you can also have implementation operation support for these non-SAP parts in the solution, so that ultimately Cloud ALM gets you one-stop shop for your solution transformation and for the operations of your solution. Now, where are we in adoption in these 3 years? So we have actually, in the meanwhile, 4,200 customers that we have provisioned in Cloud ALM to. So that is great. We have 8 new customers per day. 8 new customers per day. By the way, that is, as I learned yesterday, the Friday figure. From Monday to Thursday, we even have 10 new customers per day. And when you look at our 30 months acceleration, yeah, for the first 1,000 customers needed 19 months, second 1,000 customers 7 months, and in the meanwhile, we are growing by 1,000 customers every 4 months. In the meanwhile, it's even 2 to 3 months where we get additional 1,000 customers. So we really have phenomenal momentum in adoption, and there is also heavy usage of the software. It's not just a tenant's provision. We really see the amount of work that is in the meanwhile done on that infrastructure. By the way, technically, Cloud ALM is the largest cloud-native solution on business technology platform, and we are updating all tenants of all customers daily. So you basically get constant innovation from SAP. We buy every 2 weeks, we release new features. That means the maximum distance from innovation from SAP in Cloud ALM is just 14 days. So it's a really phenomenal infrastructure to support growth, your growth, and also helps us making sure that you are guided in your transformation journey and in your operations challenges. I now want to show you a quick demo of SAP Cloud ALM. I'll focus on the implementation part and then have a few words also on the operation part, but I see it's really important that you see that it's really a cloud native solution that is really also from the UI perspective optimized to support SAP and non-SAP. And what you see here is basically the implementation overview. Yeah? So the solution that we have in order to transform your solution to a new state. You see here basically a tile where you see the project, you see the project progress, task completion, today's work that I have to do as a consultant or as a customer, the upcoming tasks, the task distribution, the solution processes per scope. So we are very process-centric in our thinking. You see requirements, requirement distribution. You see below features. Features are actually transport that you want to apply to production. Test cases, test planning, test execution, all part of the solution. And let me now play a little bit a demo video to take you through this user interfaces. So first, what I will do is I will jump into my upcoming tasks. I see here all the tasks that I have to do within the project. I'm just selecting one task. And here you see on the right an SAP Activate task. This is, by the way, standard text that comes from SAP for all our implementation tasks, in this case in Ariba. From there, with all these accelerators that help me in the adoption, I jump to the Gantt view. So a project overview for the PMO where I can see the dependencies between the tasks within the overall flow. So that gives you a good overview on the project plan, at least from the perspective of solution provisioning. Here I can see how I can change and promote status of task to another status, from open to in progress. I just take the task, move it to a different tile lane, and then the task is changed in status. That's it. So this is really a lot of improvement in usability when you compare it with Solman. Now, what I want to now do is I want to show you now the solution processes per scope. So this is now the view of the business processes that are in scope. These are all standard business processes of Ariba in our Activate content. You have a value flow chart, and then the solution flow chart in BPMN notation. And here you see a process step in this Ariba step. I create now a requirement because I've seen in the Fit to Standard workshop that that process step is not sufficient. I add a requirement, describe what I need in the Fit to Standard workshop, and then it's captured, and I can create then consequently tasks for to implement that requirement. Next step, what we will do is we go in testing. In testing, you see here all the test plans that the test coordinator for that project has concluded. And you see here all the test cases, and I select just one. And this is actually a manual test case where an author has described all the test steps. In S4, we even provide them out of the box for standard content. In other solutions, you need to create them manually. But it's a very interesting. And here you see now another process, another test case, which is now an automated process. The authoring environment here is Tricentis Test Automation integrated with SAP Cloud ALM, and I could then also automatically execute automation tests within SAP Cloud ALM. This is also very relevant for cloud release validation testing. I see also the defects that were created for this automated test execution. And then obviously the defects are also integrated with corrections that might be needed. Okay, now the last thing I want to show you is the solution process traceability. Here I can really see the complete flow for a business process. Are the requirements there? Are the user stories there? Are the documents there? Here I see the test execution. I see, there are failed test executions. There's even a defect that was created for that process, so it's not fully ready yet. So the PMO can exactly see from the business process perspective, where are we in the solutioning progress? So with that, I hope that you have basically seen that very integrated environment with very nice UIs, easy to understand, simple to consume, 2 hours, and you are up to the job for all these capabilities. It's not more, it's so easy to use. Let me also talk quickly about operations. I had no time for that to do you now a demo, but the focus of operations is clearly in the area of process monitoring, integration monitoring, real user and synthetic user monitoring, and then we are also providing an health monitoring, which is basically the lowest level where we have a lightweight system monitoring also available for those customers that still have on-prem loads. We are clearly focusing on the higher levels of the monitoring stack up to the business process. And when we say business process, it's really order to cash, procure to pay. It's really your business process, your end-to-end business process that we are monitoring, and with big insights within SAP. With that, I mean, if sometimes I'm asked, are other providers not doing that, like Splunk and Dynatrace and AppDynamics and so on? But quite honestly, they are not SAP specific. They are generic in nature, and they are not really monitoring the integration or the business process in the sense we understand it and that you understand it. So it's a very unique capability that we have here with SAP Cloud ALM in the market. There is nothing else like that. Yes, last week we had an analyst talking on the ALM Summit in Germany, and he confessed after looking at Microsoft and others that this is a very unique tooling that is out there. Let me quickly from here go into the adoption use cases. So what are typically starting points? End-to-end implementation project management for S4, but also for Ariba SuccessFactors. Support your conversion to S4HANA. Readiness check in the meanwhile is also moved into SAP Cloud ALM. So we are integrated now there. Automated regression testing for cloud releases. You see, you get a SuccessFactors release and a Ariba release. You want to automatically release regression tests. For that, we have this test automation, which comes for SAP integrated with Cloud ALM without an additional charge. And if you want to use it beyond SAP and for other beyond functional testing, you can basically buy it from SAP prices. We have also the synchronization of deployment between S4HANA and BTP, for example, to reach a clean core. So synchronized deployment is another use case that is a typical starting point. And then finally, the monitoring use cases that are set: integration monitoring, real user monitoring, process monitoring. By the way, these are the largest parts of adoption. These three alone are roughly 2,000 customers productively using these scenarios. So very mature solution. Sometimes I'm asked, okay, are you also planning something with AI? Is there ALM at AI? And yes, we are around to publish a couple of AI-based scenarios. This is automatic generation of solution documentation, automatic generation of test cases from requirements, an automated project summary with risk rating. So you basically talk into Cloud ALM, give me a project summary, and then you get a summary. Also integrated with SAP Joule, our new digital assistant. Same for operations. Investments are there going into threshold-less alerting that you don't need to, especially for real user monitoring, you don't need to define the thresholds, but the system finds it out from a sliding window. Anomaly prediction, recommendations for alert mitigation, so automated processing of alerts with automatically generated code for the auto reactions are capabilities that we plan to add in operations. These are things that are upcoming. They're not yet there. All these things that I explained before are actually already there and implemented. A lot of questions are coming on the transition to solution manager. So here we have a lot is available already, like the transition center for the move to Cloud ALM on our homepage. There's a readiness check where you can scan the solution manager and see what you have to do in order to do the movement. There are implementation services available today. And then we are adding mid of next year 2 additional things, the transition methodology to Cloud ALM, which is a complete project plan and basically activate roadmap for movement to Cloud ALM. And then also tools for selected data transfer, specifically for the areas where you have invested, which is documentation and test cases. So there is support for Solomon customers to move into Cloud ALM latest by next year. All right. So I think with that, I hope that you got a good overview of SAP Cloud ALM. I would like now to hand it over to let me add one more slide and then hand it over to Sharat quickly and then open it up for questions. I see already raised hands. So another important topic that you need to understand about Cloud ALM is that we are an extremely open platform. So there are tons of APIs are available today on the business API app that allow for integration, for ISVs to integrate, but also for AMS and system integrators to integrate. So we want to be the partner's choice. We want that partners are going out to their customers and say, we are doing all our implementations in SAP Cloud ALM. And quite frankly, last week in Mannheim on our ALM summit in Germany, there were the first partners like Nagaro that said, we are only doing Cloud ALM for all our implementations, whatever it is, S4 on-prem, S4 Cloud, Ariba SuccessFactors, we are only using SAP Cloud ALM for implementation. So we have these testimonials from the first partners. At that point in time, boutique partners, but the system integrators, all of them will follow. So we have support for application management service providers, which in a combination with EFRAN can support the customers up to the business process monitoring. We have support for system integrators that can bring in their own methodology and their own best practices for their industry verticals into Cloud ALM. So they don't need to work just with our content, they can bring their own content in and then even move that content from one delivery to the next. So that basically they are not starting with a blank piece of paper and with that dramatically accelerate the implementation times and the time to value for our customers. And then finally, there are also ALM consulting and extension partners. And we have seen, especially also on the ALM summit in India, the first Cloud ALM extensions. Yeah? For example, the winner of the so-called Almason that we did for a partner extending Cloud ALM was actually Daffodils. We'll talk about Daffodils, we'll talk later about their Cloud ALM experience. But that's the first ITSM solution built on BTP integrating with SAP Cloud ALM, also available already on SAP. So there's a big ecosystem coming up to extend Cloud ALM to fill white spaces. So we are the partner's choice. That's the last message for me. And now I want to hand it over to Sharat to do a couple of quick announcements on opportunities to be references. And then we open it up for questions.
Mark, I think there is a question on the chat if you want to answer that first. It says, how about the integration of Worksoft certified with Cloud ALM?
While we have Tricentis as our preferred OEM and also reseller, we are still open. Yeah? So basically there's an open interface and specifically Worksoft has implemented that interface. So Worksoft certified also integrates into SAP Cloud ALM. There are a couple of more like Infor for API testing. So while we have this preferred partnership with Tricentis, right, we are not saying the others can't integrate. That would not be fair, especially also because of the large ecosystem that we see at Worksoft. So Worksoft customers don't need to change in any way. They can just use these existing scripts and then use it in something.
Thanks. Do you want to first, Sharat, do you want to first go and then we come back to Q&A?
Yeah, maybe I think we can take, it's an associated query from Basim.
Okay.
Around testing, so maybe we can take that as well.
Yeah, so I think the question is how will Cloud ALM help in brownfield transformation from a test approach point of view?
In brownfield implementations, what you can do is you can basically take either the out-of-the-box test cases to test then the brownfield implementation manually. Often of brownfield implementations, you can't really use all that content. So in this case, you author your content. You can also bring the content in from other sources if you have it somewhere in Excel or whatever. And then you can match your manual test in Cloud ALM, do all the test execute, the defect management from there for your brownfield implementations. Very similar capability than test management in SAP Solution Manager or in other solutions that are out there on the market. And if you like, right, and you want to go so far to really automate your tests, perhaps also a little bit in later phases of the project or in release regression testing, then we have the integration into test automation with Tricentis or even other third parties that are providing test automation engine. Yeah. I've skipped now the transformation speed because I don't know how much time we have. I'll ask you to show that, right? Because for transformation speed, I need another 5 minutes, and probably it's an own topic on itself. So therefore, I skipped that. Otherwise, we are running out of the time, and we don't have the daffodils enough time for the daffodils to talk. So over to you, Sharat.
Thank you so much, Mark. So we will handle the queries just in a while. But just before we do that, I mean, just wanted to quickly announce there is this reference that we are having for ALM Awards. This is again powered by the INDUS community. And this is about to happen in the month of November, middle of November. The dates will be announced by Mukesh pretty soon. And here we are really looking at customers and partners who have showcased usage of SAP Cloud ALM across our implementation and operation scenarios. Specifically, we are looking at usage of SAP Cloud ALM as you embark on your digital transformation, leveraging it for, let's say, task management, process management, requirement management, and test management. It could be including Tricentis. Tricentis is pretty new, but we already have customers and partners who are using Cloud ALM along with Tricentis. And again, all the elements that Mark mentioned, especially of usage it for implementation and operation, we do have references, but here is your opportunity to showcase your success story using SAP Cloud ALM. So do drop us a note. We have provided the link and other details along with this material. It's also come out as a mail to you earlier. We would also be looking at operational efficiency. That means as you have your system landscapes up and running, and then you're looking at business as usual and looking at it from an operation standpoint, you are leveraging SAP Cloud ALM for the various operations aspects, right from your business processes and then moving into integrations or looking at real user monitoring, health monitoring, and finally the business service management. So looking at the full spectrum, if at all you're using it for some of these elements, here again is an opportunity to showcase your skills and your success story around SAP Cloud ALM usage. You could have either the implementation or the operations or the combination of both. We do have customers who are leveraging it for both scenarios as well, and hence it only increases the possibility of you winning the ALM award. So we really look forward to more of you coming on board. We do have some submissions. Some of them are on this call as well. The timeline is, in fact, pretty much almost near closure. So we would expect submissions by the end of this week. We would be evaluating over the next couple of weeks with the in-house, the board members, as well as Sonal, who's our regional head. So we will be going through a round of exercise to identify the winner. And then finally, Mukesh will send out a mail specifically to the winner, who can then be available during the INDUS event in Mumbai, if I'm right, Mukesh. Yeah, so we will send this link out. So this would be important for you. I will try to put this in chat as well, in case you would like to have it right here. But otherwise, there is a mail that will come out, and along with that, this deck as well.
So the event is on the 17th of November in Mumbai at Taj Lansing.
Yep. So that's something that you can look forward to as well. Again, it'll be a gala event. A lot of other aspects as well. ALM is an important factor within this event as well. Yeah. With that, I would like to now invite Bhavesh Chauhan, the CEO of Daffodils, again, the winner of the Almathon that we had here in India. And they showcased an amazing solution focused on the incident management aspect, but that's not just what they do. They do a lot more. Maybe I'll call on Bhavesh if you're available to right away take this screen. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarat, and thank you, Mark. See, today I'm just going to share the customer success story. We are actually interacting with the customer, and we are trying to implement a lot of the cloud ALM implementation. And I would like to showcase one of the success story which is currently published on the sap.com as well. So many a times when we are interacting with the customer, The first question what customer asks is, let's say if I am on the S/4HANA on-prem or S/4HANA cloud, whether can I go for with the cloud ALM? The answer is yes. Second question, whether it is
I have lost his voice. Can anyone hear him?
No,
I think we have
I
lost
can't hear
Bhavesh's
either.
voice. Yeah, we
No,
can't hear.
no.
Okay, so while we wait for him to join back, there are a couple of questions that we can take, Mark.
Yep, I see them.
Yeah, you can answer them.
Let me quickly go through them. I see them here on the right. One moment. So there's a question: does TTA, Tricentis Test Automation, only supports SAP, also non-SAP? Well, you have to distinguish between the TTA for SAP integrated with SAP Cloud ALM that comes out of the box. That basically you have Cloud ALM, you request TTA for SAP, and then you get basically a solution that supports you in automation for SAP solutions. And that is out of the box for no additional payment in fair use rights. Now, when you want to use it beyond SAP or beyond the usage scope that is included, then you can log it up via a prices item on the SAP price list, and then you can use Tricentis Test Automation also for non-SAP and for every load that you have. Yeah? So yes, TTA supports at the end SAP and non-SAP. That's why we partner with Tricentis, because they have a non-SAP footprint and background. Next question is, we are using, one moment, there's so many questions now coming in, I have to go.
Mark, I'll help you with the questions if you...
Can you please allow me to share my screen? Sorry, I got disconnected.
Okay,
yeah,
continue.
Yeah.
You should now be able to share your screen.
Yeah. Okay, so so the cloud, what I am telling you is the cloud ALM is available for on-prem as well as on cloud. It is available free of cost, and there are quick wins through which the customer can achieve within a 1 week or a 2 week of time. So whenever we are interacting with the customer, this would be the typical approach for the cloud ALM implementation. So if you are into the sustenance phase, first is to go for the operation, wherein you can go for the health monitoring, business process monitoring, the integration and the exception monitoring and the job monitoring. All this functionality can easily deploy at the customer landscape for all the systems. So that would be the first thing. And if in any near term there is any rollout or implementation, then you can utilize the functionality of task management, requirement management, of the project management functionality is available. Third is the transport management, wherein you can integrate your STMS, and you can also do the cloud-based application transport with the CTM functionality. So that is now very well established tool available with the cloud ALM. Fourth is the test automation with the Tricentis. So you can try that during the testing, whether it's a manual testing or an automatic testing, both can be carried out with the test management functionality of the cloud ALM. You can utilize the Signavio, where you can integrate the cloud ALM process authoring with the Signavio part. You can do the process intelligence, you can do the business process transformation, you can carry out all the investigation insight into your process management by integrating the cloud ALM with the Signavio. So that can be one of the steps you can also consider while implementing the cloud ALM. And last two is the service delivery management and the AI integration part. So these are the major journey towards the digital transformation if you are considering with the cloud ALM. And along with that, there are four major things which you also need to consider is the notification management. So for all the operation and the implementation, the notification can be one of the key component you should consider. The solution enhancement, there are many APIs, as Mark rightly mentioned, it's an open environment. So there are many APIs available through which you can integrate your third-party solution with the cloud ALM. So you can consider enhancement of your solution with the help of these open APIs. It also provides the proactive monitoring, and one of the case study which I would like to showcase is based on this proactive monitoring and automation only, wherein one of our customer have used the health monitoring functionality of Cloud ALM, and by virtue of that, you can also improve the organization standard operating procedure. So this is one of the case study which I would like to discuss over here. So that is for the Blue Crop Agro, that is actually into the supply of the starch derivative and the maize products. And what they are currently, the business challenge, what they were facing is that there are 2 or 3 basis consultant daily monitoring their entire system landscape, and they are actually giving around 40 hours a month, so around 2 hours per day for logging into the system, monitoring all the system health related KPI, noting down into the Excel and other things. So they come up with this problem, and what we suggest is that you should go ahead with the health monitoring. So we identify the critical business and technical KPIs from Blue Crop Agro, and we map those areas with the health monitoring KPIs. We automated the monitoring and alerting part, and email and SMS notification has been set up. And with that, there is a reduction in almost a 40% into the monitoring effort. So the total effort reduction from 40 hours to around 24-25 hours per month. So that is the and by that they can remove one of the business consultant from the monitoring part, and they can devote the time of the other business consultant to a new enhancement and new learning for SAP Business Technology Platform, which is the future right now. So this is one of the case study which I would like to hear tell you about the Cloud ALM, and the same case study is currently published on the sap.com as well. So this is the thing which we have deployed at customer space. Now I would like to highlight the 4 products which we have created in integration with the Cloud ALM and on the technology platform. So first is the ticket talk. So this is one of the gray area whenever you are migrating from let's say Cloud ALM to the solution manager. So the ITSM is currently available, and these products all are available on SAP Store as well. So for you can check and the business benefits, the pricing and everything on the SAP Store. And this ticket talk tool is the centralized incident management tool, which cannot be only used for SAP incident, but can also be used for your problems and service management as well. So other things which I would like to highlight is that it has an integration with the Microsoft OpenAI. So that integration we have already completed. And now the based on the subject, what you are mentioning, by creating an incident, the end user will get the solution out of the AI, and the user can also resolve the tickets themselves before creation of the incident. So that is the centralized tool which we have developed out of the BTP, integrated with the Cloud ALM. Second 2 things which we have created is the business process scorecard and the Stella. So business process scorecard is a dashboard for C-level communities to monitor all the business critical KPI. It has also integration with the business process monitoring analytics API of the Cloud ALM. Stella is our WhatsApp based integration. So all the KPI which is available on business process scorecard can easily monitor with the use of the WhatsApp. And fourth is the compliance management tool, the COMET, which is a workflow-driven tool to monitor all your state, country, and the local compliances from a single tool. So these 4 tools are currently available into the SAP store. I just like to share some of the screenshot of the ticket talk. So this is the first screen of the ticket talk, wherein you can monitor all the ITSM related KPIs. You can see the open versus close. You can see the unresolved tickets and number of agents working and everything. The month-wise, quarter-wise trend can also be seen from this dashboard. The important part is the AI integration. So here you can see that if one of the user is mentioning the subject, let's say VA01, and the user is selecting the company name and its service type, then product name, product function, and product components, the same as what we are creating the ticket into the support.sap or SAP for me. So same thing is currently available into the ticket talk, and based on the subject line, if you see that, it will connect, it will ask to the virtual assistant through OpenAI, and the user will get this kind of the response from the artificial intelligence. So user can check that these are the steps which I need to execute to resolve this ticket. And if the ticket is not resolved, then only he can write the description, do the attachment, and can submit to the partner or SAP. So by virtue of it, the main motive of integration of AI is to resolve the ticket by end user itself. And if not, then the ticket can be resolved by L1 or L1.5 type of consultant. No, not each and every incident should be go to L2, L3 or L4. So this is the integration which we have carried out, and it is currently available as a part of this tool as well. So for any of the demo, you can just drop an email to this email ID, and I'm happy to give answer to any of your question related to Ticket Talk or any of the tools which we have developed or the Cloud ALM. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavesh. Sharath, you want to look at the questions and
yes, I will. Yeah, I
facilitate
will run through the questions with Mark quickly, and then if you have any other questions for, let's say, Bhavesh later, we can take that. So, Mark, maybe I'll run with the questions for you. So, one of the questions that come our way is, what is the roadmap for solution documentation and manual testing?
Yeah, so I've tried to answer a lot of them in writing.
Okay.
So you see that in the chat. So the roadmap of documentation, manual testing, let me also advance it to Cloud ALM goes Charm and Cloud ALM goes Focus Build, because there are other questions around that. This is all in the works. It's available on roadmaps.sap.com. There you see basically all our implementation items per quarter. By the way, we have also recorded all sessions of the ALM Summit EMEA that happened last week. And there are dedicated 45-minute sessions for each of these topics with the roadmap with detailed explanations. So they will be available in 2 weeks. So probably we can also share the link to these recordings in 2 weeks via my local team. And then you can also, depending on your interest of these next quarter items, look in the details here. Yeah? So far, go to roadmaps.sap.com, you'll see it there, or in 2 weeks, just look at our one of our recorded sessions on this topic.
Perfect. I think, yeah, we've covered, I think I see that, Mark, you've covered almost all the questions. There's just one that came just now. I mean, a couple of them, in fact. One was the roadmap to migrate Solman, Charm, especially, and SolDoc to SAP Cloud ALM, essentially the content side of it. Probably.
Perhaps I quickly go through the answers.
Yeah.
Yes, Cloud ALM is part of enterprise support and all cloud subscriptions. Yeah. So if you ask me, is BPM1 part of enterprise support, and the answer, all of Cloud ALM is part of enterprise support and any subscription that you have. And with that, obviously, also BPM1 is part of that, yeah, because it's including Cloud ALM. Focus Build Test Suite, yeah, I assume you mean the test step solution in Focus Build in SAP Solution Manager. For me, that's largely already implemented, exactly the demo that I've shown you before. So that part of Focus Build is already part of Cloud ALM. And further steps, especially what we call the constraints, yeah, so making sure that you can only promote a status from A to B when C and D are given, yeah, we call that constraints. These are currently implemented. Currently, let's say Focus Build is a very closed infrastructure, while Cloud ALM is a very open infrastructure. And now we are implementing constraints that you can customize on, and then they are there. So far, you can do pretty much everything with Cloud ALM. And some customers would like to have it more restricted, and this will come with the restrictions. And that's basically the Focus Build capabilities that have to move to Cloud ALM. Is it possible? Yeah, yes, it is possible to integrate third parties into Cloud ALM via API. So typical integrations are Jira, MS Teams, APM tools, and ServiceNow. We see tons of such integrations. There are even some partners, I mentioned them here, Connect and others, that are providing productized integrations, meaning more out-of-the-box solutions. We only provide APIs. You can do it on your own with some sample code we give you on the Business API Hub. But there is also a little bit more out-of-the-box integrations with some additions coming on top of Cloud ALM with those innovation partners that I mentioned in my answer here. The notification service is indeed has still to be implemented also for the use case that is described there. It's currently in the works, should be around the corner. Is there a road charm I already mentioned, right? Soldog I also mentioned. Yeah, I think I covered everything. What was the last one that you had, Sharat?
Yeah, essentially the transition one, you know, to migrate to charm. Yeah, migration.
Yeah, for the transition, we already have a readiness check. So here you can scan the Solman and see the impact on your move. So what are the comparable capabilities? What do you need to know about the future solution compared to the old capability and these things? So definitely do that. It's very simple. You just scan, just export a file from Solman, import it into a cloud app called readiness check, and then you get a report, and that will help you a lot to understand also the feature parity of the solutions. The things that are still have to come by mid of next year, it was a previous slide in my presentation, is the project methodology and then the selective data transfer. Selective data transfer will only allow for, from our side, only for documentation test cases. For Charm, our plan is that you close the cycles in SAP Solution Manager and then move to Cloud ALM and then run the new cycles from there. So we are not planning, let's say, a migration for change documents, change requests, or things like that, because we see them as time dependent, and we would like to ask you to close it before. So overall, the goal is to reduce the amount of data that we move into Cloud ALM as much as possible, and don't take all the history that is not useful anymore with us.
Thanks, Mark. We have one question for Bhavesh. Bhavesh, how does AI ticket response get validated, or authenticated for the business query, business user query? So if you could just quickly explain that.
Yeah, so if you see the screenshot, first what we are capturing is the subject, the product function, and the product component, and we are adding some of the prefix, suffix while sending the it to the Microsoft AI, and based on that we are receiving the response. So yes, there is some mechanism in the background before sending it to the AI, and based on that we are trying to get the accurate response from the AI. Yes.
All right, thank you, Bhavesh. If there are any more questions, you could type it in here or raise your hands, and then we could take that. And otherwise, I'd like to hand it over back to Mukesh. Mukesh, you want to quickly see if more things are coming in? Otherwise, we can also wrap up the session.
I think I'm not seeing any questions coming up right now. So let's just give 30 seconds. Meanwhile, just wanted to share the tool we have for collaboration. So let me know if you're able to see my screen. If someone can just, if you're able to see my screen.
Not yet, Mukesh. It's not up yet.
Can you not still see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your, I mean, right now, not yet. Yeah, now it's coming up.
Okay. So this is the platform that Indus has launched for collaboration and communication amongst members. So if you see this, the interface is very straightforward and simple. Feed is where you find all the postings that we have. You're able to create, answer polls. You can you can share a question. You can share a file, photo, a document. You can. This chat is for all members to kind of have a conversation. We can have events that we have. You can also find people who are members of the community. You can find who's online at the point in time when you are logged in. You can follow them. You can initiate a one-on-one chat with them. You can actually look at their profile if you want to check, who they are, if they filled in the profile. So, for example, let me just see if, yeah, okay. So let's check this person. So you can see which company they are from, what's their profile. If you want to initiate one-on-one conversation, you can initiate. You can also find which all groups they're part of. If they've updated, you can find the LinkedIn details and all of that. So there is a group that we have created for the ALM SIG. This is what the group is. You'll find events, you find members who are already part of the group. So I've shared the link for this on the chat. If you're already not part of this group, please do use the link to kind of join the group. You can find that this is going to be this will replace the Indus WhatsApp groups that we have for all the different SIGs, and this then becomes your specific tool for you to engage. So I'm showing this to you on a browser. The same thing is also available to you as an app as well. It's available on both iOS, iPad OS, and Android. So you can have the entire thing on your on the app as well. So we have all the other SIGs as well. So if you want to join some other SIG, feel free to request for you to join the SIG, and we'll approve the same as well. And communicate, converse, and participate in conversations, ask questions, respond to polls. That's how the community grows, and that's how the community prospers and thrives. So that's the only thing that I wanted to share. And if there are still no further questions, then I think we are good. Thank you so much for Mark for sharing your insights. Thank you so much, Bhagesh, for sharing the case study. And thanks, Sharat, for talking about the ALM awards. I hope we get some nominations. I hope we get to see some winners on the 17th of November in Mumbai. With that, thank you so much. You please take care. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Vinny. See you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mark.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Approach.